up, pump it up.
It's the day with
This is the day to gain inspiration, to make a positive change in the nation. We're inviting you to partake in conversation, to raise your vibration. It's the day that we will all celebrate all of our peeps that make this thing elevate. Watch the negative fade away, cause it's the day with Trae.
Grand Rising, everyone. Welcome to the Day with Trae. I'm your host, Trae Holiday. I want to welcome you to another Feel Good Friday in the building. So excited because I got an amazing artist, contemporary musician. Owuor Arunga is joining me today. We're going to be talking about these phenomenal jam sessions he has going on at Langston Hughes, the Comic Youth Jazz Sessions. Cosmic Youth Jazz Sessions. I'm looking forward to having him here to talk about it and about his musical career. But of course, before we get into it with him, I get into it with you because it's the top of the show, right? So this is where you get to participate and share this show with others who you feel could benefit from the daily dose of dopeness we work to give you here on The Day with Trae. And, you know, if you can't watch our TV show, don't trip. We're in the age of technology. We got you covered because you can listen to us also anywhere you find your favorite podcast. Just search Converge Media Network and The Day with Trae. You'll find us wherever your favorite platform is. There's a bunch of them. We're on like all 200 of them. Shout out to our podcast team for making that happen. So we got you covered either way. Now, before I get into it with Owuor, I got to say there is some phenomenal things happening in the world of musicianship in the Pacific Northwest that oftentimes doesn't get the spotlight it deserves. The great thing is that this show and so much more is really dedicated to spotlighting that brilliance and making sure that you all out there are aware of the phenomenal musicians we have right here in our backyard. But it's not just about them being here. It's about the fact that they have traveled all over the world and continue to bring their brilliance back here to the Pacific Northwest to make sure that others can benefit from their brilliance and all of their musical experience. So I get excited when I'm able to really dive in with an artist and spend some time talking about what that looks like on the other end. Because again, we are always working to give you inspiring stories here on The Day with Trae so that you can understand some of the parameters that it takes to get to a certain place when it comes to any type of goal. And today we get to focus in on music. And one of the things that you will hear oftentimes from any known musician who has any type of great run with their music, they will tell you it just takes time. Sometimes you got to keep at it, keep working hard, keep on it. Don't drop your goals. Don't stop your dreams. Continue to dream big. And eventually you'll get recognized. You'll get noticed. It's that dedication, right? This idea of like overnight sensation sometimes is very, very rare. Not saying it doesn't happen, but it's more rare that somebody just all of a sudden started yesterday and boom, they took off. But it's been years of honing in on their craft that really shows up in those times where the opportunity presents itself and they're able to take advantage of it. So I'm talking to all of y'all out there who may be aspiring musicians or maybe just beginning, and you find that times get a little tough. There's still some value in going direct to consumer. And nowadays, there's so many different platforms that allow you to do that, but also being out here in the community that you're looking to impact is also very key. So finding those venues that have the open mics that are allowing for you to showcase your talent, don't stop dreaming. And so that's my message today as I get the opportunity to talk to someone who, as a musician, is just top tier. I mean, Owuor Arunga has done so much in his life as a musician, and now he's bringing it back to the community with these amazing jam sessions. So up next, we have him coming up after this short break. We're going to dive into these sessions and a bit more about his musical experience right after this. You definitely don't want to miss it. Stay tuned. You're watching The Day with Trae.
Washington's charter public schools prioritize equitable learning opportunities for all students and strive for openness at every level. Teachers work with parents to build a trusting and supportive learning environment for students. To learn more, visit wacharters.org.
Seattle Opera presents the world premiere of Jubilee, Jubilee follows the historic Fisk Jubilee Singers' initial tours following the Civil War. While raising funds for the fledgling Fisk University, the group shared their music around the world, showcasing more than 40 African-American spirituals such as Swing Low, Sweet Chariot, Deep River, and Wade in the Water. Jubilee is not to be missed. October 12th through 26th at McCaw Hall. Details at seattleopera.org.
A world of wonder awaits at Pacific Northwest Ballet's The Nutcracker. Treat your loved ones to the Northwest's favorite holiday tradition at Seattle Center's McCaw Hall. Visit pnb.org.
Welcome back, y'all, to the Day with Trae. I'm your host, Trae Holiday. Joining me right now is Owuor Arunga. What's up, Owuor?
I'm good. How about yourself?
I'm great. It's so glad to have you here.
Yeah. I mean, I just want to give you your kudos. The powerhouse you are in editorial and film and theater. It's beautiful to watch your growth and evolution since the days of New Black Arts West Theater, Kabibi Monique,
Right.
and it's a beautiful thing to watch that and be here as well. So thank you for having me.
Well, much love for that. It's so interesting because we had her on earlier this week,
Yeah.
and she was talking about the drama classes she's doing at Langston. So
Great.
I love that you're here talking about the beauty that you're bringing to Langston.
Mm.
And really, for me, I got to talk about community, because that's one thing that I think is a thorough line. When we think about an institution like Langston Hughes having its connections and ties to amazing brilliance in our community to bring it there. Tell us a bit about like your experience as a youth with these kinds of phenomenal institutions that poured into you as you were learning more and more about your own musicianship.
Yeah. I was a member of New Black Arts West, and I remember Kabibi, sitting me down on Yesler across the street from the park over there by Gay's Bakery, but up the street a little bit,
Yeah.
and going over lines with me and me repeating them, and her saying, do it over again, do it over again, do it over again, till I got it right, and giving me that direction. Very intimate, very intimate relationship with people who, it seems as though that they're being hard on you, but they want the best for you. They want you to be excellent. And my journey started at Thurgood Marshall Elementary School. First teacher was a man called Mr. Costanza, and then Mr. Seaberger. That was the first time I played So What by Miles Davis. And then I moved to Washington Middle School with a man named Robert Nat, whom allowed me to join his jazz band, the beginning jazz band. And that's where I really started my jazz journey, was with Mr. Robert Nat. And for 3 years, I was in that band and graduated all the way to the senior jazz band. And after that, I went to Garfield High School. I had the privilege of studying with Clarence Acox. Clarence Acox and Robert Nat. One went to Southern University in Louisiana. The other one went to Grambling State University. And they were rivals in college, but moved here because of affirmative action. They were allotted the space to teach in Washington State because Washington State needed Black teachers. So we were very blessed to have some of the most powerful educators in the country. And I was privileged to be one of their students. And after that, I moved to New York, went to college, studied with a man named Ahmed Abdullah, another man named Jimmy Owens, another man named Charlie Persip, Reggie Workman, a slew of incredible musicians whom were heroes of mine, whose albums I would get. And I decided I want to move back to Seattle. And in Seattle, I had a mentor. Her name was LaVersa Sullivan. And LaVersa Sullivan, while I was a youth, taught me all about music technology. And she put me together with Felicia Loud, whom I got to record my first single called Space. And I remember the lyrics, they went, "They call it space." And me and Felicia made that record with a man named Roger. And he's passed away now, rest in peace. And they taught me about production, how to be in the studio and how to work in the studio. And Miss LaVersa Sullivan gave me that opportunity to explore the tech side of things. And when I moved back from New York after graduating from the New School University, I decided I wanted to give back what I had learned. And that was one thing LaVersa Sullivan always taught us, is that the lifelong model for learning ends with giving back and sharing, right? So I taught at her school, which was called the Discovery Center and the Intel Clubhouse in Tacoma on the hilltop. And I taught youth how to produce music and how to do that. And at a certain point, I felt like I needed to learn more. I needed to gain more experience so I could, feel as though I'm giving these students something worthy of their time and effort. So time passed and we started doing sessions every day in Seattle at the Fair Cafe Gallery. And Elisheba, is it Elisheba Johnson?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, she now curates for Wanawari, but she gave us her space, a gallery, and we had jam session every single day. The only day we didn't have a jam session was on Saturday, but every other day we had a happy hour jam session from Monday to Friday, and on Sundays we did something called the Rerun with a young man named Mark Sampson, who's also ancestor now. So it's been a beautiful journey, and now that I came to the point of really honing in and being passionate and having this intimate love for music and exploring the world and contributing to beautiful works of art, I feel like I'm at that place where I could also share my experiences, still in the posture of a student, though.
Wow. I mean, but that need to come back to community is something that I treasure so much because, I think there's something that really drives me in terms of how we uplift that very thing of the need to kind of come back. Like, let me explore the world and learn and build my talent and take it to other places. But let me not forget, how to be a pillar, how to be important, how to give back, like I was given into, right? Like I was poured into, now I get to pour in to others. It's like a cascading effect that I love to be able to explore more. When you think about some of the main reasons why you said it's important for me to do that work, and that's a part of the legacy you're building really for yourself and continuing on with so many other legacies. Why was that so important?
Yeah, I was the great educators. One of them was Robert Nat, whom passed away recently, and I was there, and a teacher of mine, Wadey Irvin, called me after because I was playing the trumpet at his funeral, and he called me and he said, "Oh my gosh, that was really touching," and he said, "You know what? You're really gonna get it when you start teaching, or you're really gonna get it when you start giving back. That's when you really gonna understand what this is about." And that really resonated with me. We had already scheduled to do the sessions, but when he said that to me as one of my OGs, as one of my elders, it never left me, because the way he called me, I'm in the middle of like really, it's after the funeral, and I had some tears coming down, and all of a sudden I get this call, and lo and behold, it's another one of my OGs, my teachers, and he tells me this. So I took it as an omen,
Wow.
and music is very spiritual, extremely spiritual, and it moves within a spiritual context. And I feel like it's that spiritual context that is always guiding me in my next move, or the next thing my energy should be going to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So,
Wow.
yeah, that's one of the reasons. I mean, there's so many other reasons. You know, I had these role models in my life: John Yasutake, Michael Yasutake, Herman Brown, Coleman Brown, Frank Brown. Um, all these were Doc Rhodes, Leonard Doc Rhodes, the great. I had all these role models in my life whom really, through osmosis, taught me this art form. You know, Louis Armstrong said, our music is a secret order. And there's certain ways that it's transmuted and transmitted from generation to generation. And I know that I've been blessed to be around those transmitters and those people who pass it on from generation to generation. So I feel very honored to, you know, play an active and engage, playing an active role in that.
Yeah, yeah, that is very special, and you're so right, because I think the understanding of giving back, it starts with how folks did that for us, like,
Yeah.
and so I really appreciate you. When we were talking to Nana Kabibi, I said,
Mm.
you know, look, I said what you said.
Mm.
I said she was known for her method
Yeah.
of directing and
No
pulling
mess.
it out. Yeah, pulling that greatness out
Mm.
of you in such a succinct way, and it reflects how it was done for her. So that ripple effect is always so beautiful in community. But it's also about, you know, we talked about these institutions,
Mm.
and I think of what Langston is doing now. I remember, you know, listening to, you know, some of the newer goals from Langston is, man, when we were growing up, the doors were always open,
Mm-hmm.
and we want to provide that experience for the young folks now.
Yeah.
Right? Because it wasn't that way for a while, right? Of
Mm.
course, with COVID, a lot of things changed, but I love hearing that.
Mm.
So tell us about what it means to you to be a part of, you know, that goal for Langston now,
Yeah.
when it's really reflective of how we grew up experiencing Langston.
Yeah.
The door's always open, always a class, always something for us to do there.
Yeah, you know, Dr. Maxine Bowie Mims always would talk to me about passion,
Mm.
you know, and we are passionate people. You know, we're percussive people, we're passionate. And when you have an art form, whether it's theater, whether it's music, whether it's art visually, there's so much love that you have for that thing. You want to be immersed in it. You want to have a relationship with it. You want to be able to engage it and have the opportunities for fellowship and other like-minded people, you know. And I think it's really driven by that passion, that the energy of, you know, that deep love for one to grow, wanting to get better, wanting to do it, you know, wanting to show what you got, want to show improve, or learn, or, you know, just be around those types of people. And it naturally helps you get better, naturally helps you grow, and naturally. And I think that's really, that's something that Langston Hughes himself was about. And in my experiences at Langston Hughes, the plays that I've been a part of and the concerts and all those things, it's always been people who love the community and want to bring a standard, like a high level in the community, and make that contribution to the community. So whether it was Steve Sneed, or whether it was um, Jackie Moscous, or um, uh, Miss Barnes, or
Yep.
all these people that have made this contribution of excellence and this contribution of love to the community, because it really is a labor of the heart. You know, it can be cerebral to be an artist, but I think in our aesthetic as Black artists and working with Black arts, it's really about love. You know what I'm saying? It's really about passion in the heart, you know, and how we put our heart and express our heart. So I think that's, to answer your question, even though I don't know if I am answering your
No,
question.
you did. No, you definitely did. No, you definitely did. And now I want to shift a little bit here, because when I think about the personal impact
Yeah.
that, giving back to community has, I think about, for me, there's something about being a parent.
Mm.
And I think there's something really special about, we birth these children or we adopt children, however we become parents. And there's something that clicks a little bit differently in terms of, now you're thinking about that, your child's experience in community, in the world, and how important that is. Tell us a bit about how that resonates with you as a father.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. You no longer start thinking about just the kids. You think about their kids, and you think about their kids, and you start to think in this 3D way, almost like multi-generational impacts that we can have. And that's always a part of it, like the art has to live through us, and we transmit that through each generation. I'm blessed to have daughters who are so talented. My daughter Anyango and Ashe. One is a writer and a poet and rapper. Bad MC. She a bad gal. Bad as in good.
Yeah.
And Anyango, who's a saxophonist, trumpeter, a drummer, tap dancer, and visual artist. And they love music. They have that love, they produce, they have their laptops, and they be making their beats, and they have their microphone, and I just love to support it. I'm here to create an environment for the next generation. I'm not necessarily here to tell them what to do, but to offer opportunity to express, and to offer a space in which they can do that, and a space where they can osmose and kind of like pick things up through osmosis, and pick things up through non-traditional teaching, or let's say native intelligence, those old ancient ways in which we learned from each other. And, that opportunity is something that we'd like to let people know about, and get out to people so they can take advantage of that opportunity. We have like these incredible musicians who are part of the house band, and that's the idea, is for not only my children, but the children of the community, because, in the West, we think of ourselves as parents of our kids, but we're really a village, I think that's more of the paradigm that Langston is operating off of, and the paradigm that much of the educators there operate off of, is understanding that we're all connected and not necessarily divided, but unified. And how do we continue that work and that tradition that was taught to us, and continue to disseminate that for each of the generations, because it is not only for the next generation, but it's also pulling from the ancestral realm. And how do you keep that continuum? So yeah, it's not just about now. It's about the continuum, the flow.
Well, you really hit the nail on the head there, because that's what you've been explaining throughout this time, is the village model. It's the village mentality. I mean, you're talking about, Kabibi Monet and Dr. Maxine Mims and Felicia V. Loud. I mean, these are like, all of them were impactful in my life, right? But that's a part of the community model, is, of course, right? Because that oneness that you speak of, it's only right that somehow they poured into me, they poured into you, we're of the same generation. So it's very highly likely, as we were tapping into community, that we're hitting all of these same nodes. And I know for me, that's always been something that I wanted for my kids. The community has shifted and changed. We don't all maybe live in the same community, essentially in the same area, but the community goes beyond the area when you have those ties and those connections. So I just really appreciate you talking about that village model, that understanding that that's really what it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's great to hear that. Now, you're going to be providing something really phenomenal for these amazing Cosmic Youth Jam sessions there at Langston. Tell us more about what folks who come, what they can experience.
Yeah, they can experience having a microphone, having instruments, in the jazz tradition, in the tradition of funk, in the tradition of groove, in the tradition of fusion, in the tradition of poetry night at the cafe down the street. They can experience being in that space and having the opportunity to do whatever they want. It's like, and also learning how to play a role. It's not about taking it over or anything like that. It's about how do we work an ensemble? How do we work as a group? How do we maximize our strengths to create something beautiful? Each one of us have something that we contribute that's different than the other, and how can we integrate that together? But really having a microphone, having a bass, having a drum, having an electric drum, having a keyboard, having all these tools that are necessary to get the groove going, and doing it, and just doing, just exercising, expressing, digging deep, going through the motions, whatever it is that they choose to do. It manifests itself the way it needs to.
Wow.
But that's really what it is. It's I think of it as recess for musicians. It's recess. It's like, go play in the sandbox. It's like, but also having this ability, or I don't want to call it ability, but the opportunity for fellowship. Because that's the most beautiful thing about music, is the like-minded people that you get to fellowship with, right? So that fellowship of having somebody who's as passionate about spitting rhymes as you are, as passionate about playing the saxophone, or as passionate about playing the trumpet, or as passionate about playing keys and finding chords, finding people who are as passionate as you are. I mean, it's so refreshing. And that is the whole key, is like, how do like minds attract? And when they attract, what do they create? And that itself is a mystery. So we leave room for the mystery, and there's no specific thing that we know that's going to come of it. However, we enjoy the process, and the journey of how it gets there.
Right.
Whatever it is.
Right on.
Yeah.
Well, this is fantastic. I know we have the flyer. We want to put the flyer up for y'all, but also you get to look right there in that camera. Let folks know how they tap into these amazing sessions.
Yes, please. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the Cosmic Youth Jam sessions every Friday from 4 o'clock to 6:30. Bring your instruments, take them out, get busy. We have a piano available. We have drums available. We have amps available. We have all the resources you need, a microphone, speakers. So just show up and be you. Do you. Just be, express yourself.
Right on.
Cosmic Jam sessions at Langston Hughes every Friday, 4 to 6:30.
Owuor, thank you so much for coming today and for continuing to pour into community in this very authentic and genuine way that only you can. Really appreciate what you're doing for community, and appreciate you joining me today. Anytime you got anything going on, the Day with Trae is here for you.
That's dope. I so much gratitude goes out to you as well. I so appreciate your grace and just the person you are, and the contributions you're making to the community. Is beautiful. It's a beautiful thing.
Ashe. Wow, y'all. What a phenomenal way to wrap up this week. I'm going to definitely be wrapping up all of this amazing inspiration right after this short break. Stay tuned. You're watching The Day with Trae.
Here on Back to Basa, it's always been important to me that we uplift stories from across the region, and that no matter where you live in the nation, you never have to miss a moment of the show as we continue to highlight the beauty, excellence, and resilience of our communities across the Pacific Northwest. Why? Because representation matters. So no matter where you live, be it the Central District or Centralia, Portland or Pullman, or anywhere across the country, I encourage you to join me on this Back to Basa journey by downloading the free Fox Local app on your phone or smart TV as we continue to elevate the very best in our communities.
Washington's charter public schools prioritize equitable learning opportunities for all students and strive for openness at every level. Teachers work with parents to build a trusting and supportive learning environment for students. To learn more, visit wacharters.org.
Big Tobacco thinks they know everything. They think they know you, your community, the places you go, the way that you spend your time. They think they got you all figured out, down to a formula, a calculation based off of numbers of what they think they know. Show them they're wrong. Learn more at theythinktheyknowyou.org.
Wow. Welcome back to the Day with Trae. I'm your host, Trae Holiday. What to be honest, just a phenomenal episode with Owuor Arunga. Huge shout out to him as my guest today. And shout out to you for being with me this week. You've heard from some of the guests this week about that continuous pouring into community, the need to be filling the voids that we see in our community, stepping in and doing something that is going to benefit others based on the knowledge we have, the experience we have, the expertise and the brilliance or talent we may have. And honestly, all of this serves as a great way to remind you all to be inspiring, not only inspiring for those who know you, but inspiring for those who are around you and get to experience you. Because the truth of the matter is that sometimes you never know what that cascading effect might have on those that you are touching. And the beauty is that you will never know if you don't do it. So I'm always going to be the one to encourage you to see yourself as a part of the solution. Do the thing. Don't think the thing. Do the thing. So please be inspired as you watch The Day with Trae to not only take in the information that's being given to you, but also the inspiration that's being dropped in our laps every time we have an episode here on The Day with Trae. Because I'll tell you one thing, I definitely am. I'm inspired by it, and it is fuel to continue in the ways that I do in community. So I hope you're feeling the same. Thanks so much again for watching this week and for joining me, and always for sharing this show with others. We so appreciate all of that, helping us grow here on The Day with Trae every single episode. Thank y'all so much. And you know, until next week on Monday at 11 a.m., that's when I get to get back to y'all. Until then, peace.
Converge Media produces culturally relevant content for Black and urban audiences. Our coverage is raw, transparent, and objective, praised by community leaders, government officials, and residents. Support Converge Media today via Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal at Converge Media.